Good morning, good morning. It's Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Deja, Jackie, whatever y'all call me. It's nice sunny today. I'm not feeling that well. My allergies have been bothering me since last night, so I'm just going through it a little bit. Um, but other than that, I'm good, y'all. This is part 3 of becoming an activist and staying in long term. I think yesterday I left off at Baltimore. Baltimore, like I was telling y'all yesterday, they, excuse me, I'm yawning. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, y'all. They are good people in Baltimore, in the Baltimore area. And I really miss it. Being around the people, doing activities, it was just more peace than anything, unless something went on in Baltimore that was like really crazy. And y'all know what happened when they killed the boy in Baltimore back in 2000 and what was that? 2013, 14, something like that. And they tore up the city. The people was angry. I didn't go out to protest. I'm on that. I just worked some online because I was going through a lot of my own issues. So, but they knew I was voicing what I was saying, and people were listening. And I saw that via social media and the news. Now we're in Charlotte, Charlotte, North Carolina. When I first came here, I didn't come here to do any work. I didn't come here to put work in, But being that they already knew, a lot of the people already knew who I was when I got here, because a lot of people from Buffalo is here in Charlotte. It was like I had no other choice. You know what I mean? Because they knew what I did up there, and they knew who Deja was. So I couldn't put that life behind me. So plus I was around a lot of kids, and my grand was a mess, always getting in trouble. So I pretty much stayed in the streets. I had no other choice but to stay in the streets. To keep him straight. And he'll tell you, he think I'm crazy. He said in certain videos, because I don't play with him. And he would try to make other people think that they were crazy because kids are not supposed to get disciplined. Because he wasn't used to being the type of discipline that he got here up in Maryland, because up in Maryland he wasn't doing the same things. So it led me to the community. It led me to the court system, learning about the way they do things here with juveniles and what was fair and what was not fair. Charlotte really does have a great juvenile system. That's one thing I would like to say. They try to work with the kids. They have all kind of programs here in Charlotte to work with these kids. So if a child tell you that they failed because of the city, it's a lie, because they cater to the children here in Charlotte. Whatever's going on, they try to fix it any way possible here in Charlotte. Where I come from, New York, and as a juvenile, you act up, they putting you in Spofford. You know what I mean? So, and that's where you're gonna remain until you get it right. We're here to give you chances. They put them on little anklets and stuff. So I didn't really have too much to fight about when it came to the way they dealt with the kids in the juvenile system here. I didn't have, a lot to say. Just try to keep them out of trouble so they won't have to do it. But be in the system, and we just opened up the community pretty much. And when I say open up the community, I mean bring the community together. All the parents, even though some of the parents didn't like some of the parents, we all work together, even if I had to be a medium, for some of the adults that was having issues before I got here, you know. But overall, we were still a community and we did things together. And, this is what you do as an activist. You go into communities and you become that medium, to make everybody happy in the community. The kids, most of all, needs to be happy in the community. And if you see anything wrong, you voice that in the community so we can try to fix it. And, we just work together, and that's just the bottom line to it, And I tell people every day, and I'm going to say it again, you can't just wake up and become an activist. You can't think that people are going to listen, that they're going to physically listen to everything you have to say. This is why you can't direct things to them. You have to see what the problem is and then bring it to them. It's not you yelling at them, screaming at them, oh, you doing this, you doing that. No, you can't do that. You have to see and understand where they're coming from with certain issues. You know what I mean? And then we try to work on it and fix the situation any means necessary. Just like when I got here in Charlotte, the juvenile system may be good, but these kids don't have no activity. So I set forth. I wasn't even here for 2 months, and I seen that the kids were bored mentally, and this is why they was going out getting in trouble, and I said, hold on. We need some type of something in this community for these kids to go play basketball, go swimming, all year round, not just in the summertime. And even if they went in the summertime, they had to go so far to the community pool, because not all of the areas have pools. So I set out when I first got here, and I had wrote. They told me who they thought was the biggest company in the community at the time, and I sat back. And this is the thing: you have to do a lot of watching, less talking and watching. And that's what people fail to realize until you know for a fact that these particular companies or organizations can really help, So, I set forth for a couple of weeks and I said, I watched and watched. Okay, I said, yeah, y'all need Jordan on this scene right now, so I sent some letters out to him, and I'm sorry, Jordan, I just got to tell the facts. I sent some letters out to him. I sent some letters out to Hendrick Cars. I went over there and dropped off letters to them. They never gave me a call back. They never gave me any information about anything, not even saying that they received my letters, and I physically took my letters to Hendrick. They never even asked for a meeting. So I was very disappointed in Charlotte behind that, Then we turned around and we lost a young lady. Y'all might have seen me post that on Facebook, when we all went to the funeral and stuff. And it was very heartbreaking, y'all, to lose a child, especially after I've been trying to fight, and I've been fighting for something before this happened, and I said to myself, like, they're going to do it, they're going to do what I'm asking, because we just lost a young lady, and it just hurt me to my heart that they ignored me. It's like the life of a child didn't matter, and then I hurt so bad for like 2 years, I had wanted to build a building for them to, when they don't have no place to go, they can come and sleep overnight until, we can figure out what's going on at home, if they need to go to the system. I had a whole plan put together, a whole proposal put together for this community center for these children. It would have been just any type of community center. They would have been able to eat there, been able to do their homework there, would have been able to even work there if need be. Teenager coming in, they need a job because their parents don't have the money. We would have had things for them to do, to try to make money. I wanted to have a pool, basketball court, and sleeping rooms, showers, whatever is needed when a child is homeless on the street. And that was my biggest thing about Charlotte, North Carolina. A lot of the kids become homeless because the parents don't want to be bothered, or the parents don't have a house, and they put them out, and then they're on the street, and then they can't protect themselves because, for one, they're young, they haven't been on this earth for a long time, so they don't know what can really go on out in the streets while you living in the streets. So a lot of my community here, we came together to try to help a couple of them. Shout out to my girl Shaka, shout out to my girl Shauna. We all came together and tried to help as much as we possibly can. But we are human beings. We can't take in every child that we see on the street. You know what I mean? Because it confuses your family and puts drama into your family, because some of these kids have been through mental issues. So this is why we needed a community center where these kids can stay overnight and then the next morning be sent pretty much to a government facility that can help them. However, I was ignored on that, and I was very, like I said, very heartbreaking. It took me 2 years mentally and physically to get over the heartbreak behind Jordan and Hendrick not responding properly, to say, hey, number one, who are you? Number two, what is going on? And we want to know, before we lost one of our youth. And we, at the time, we actually lost 3 of our youth. It's just 3 of Charlotte's youth in the same area. However, one was connected to our community. So it hit our community very hard, I have some youth in the community now, one day we was outside and he said, and I'm telling y'all about this because I seen him yesterday and I forgot all about it. And he said, I just lost 2 friends. And I just looked at him like, when you're young and you telling me you just lost 2 friends, that's old people talk. You know what I mean? But that's old people talk where, old people come together and say, yeah, girl, I had to go to the funeral. So-and-so passed away, or got killed or whatever. Not a 15-year-old. You know what I mean? Not a 15-year-old. So, it kind of bothers me. When I seen him yesterday, and I'm just thinking about how he was doing. He's been in the house. I haven't been able to see him for a while. When I go out, however, I seen him yesterday, and that's why I'm, remembering to talk about this. So that's the biggest thing I was fighting for here in Charlotte, child. But I got ignored, and kids are still dying every day, and I'm pretty much tired. Every other kid you see got an anklet on his foot. You know what I mean? And they think that that's the way, to save these children, and it's not. These children need love, these children need security, and they're not giving them that, not at all. They don't even give the adults security, so let alone the children, So, yeah, I felt some kind of way about how Charlotte dealt with the situation when I came here, and I already saw what we needed. Because, like I told you, I've been doing this for 30 years. You know what I mean? So you can tell it's not like you're new to the game and you wake up and say, okay, well, this is what they need. No, I've been in this for 30 years. So when you've been in something for 30 years and you've been dealing with kids for 30 years, you know what I mean? And I'm not talking about just my kids, because my oldest is 34. However, I'm talking about other people's kids. And when you're dealing with kids, you're dealing with different characters. You're dealing with different backgrounds. You're dealing with different lifestyles. So you learn these things by watching and dealing with these people every day. And I tell you again, you do more listening than talking. You know what I mean? And that's the key to being an activist. So you can fight for what is really needed. So these people took me as I was just new to the game, and, they don't know. Instead of this, it don't matter if I was new to the game, they still should have called me in and said, what are you talking about? What is it that we need to do to help the communities of Charlotte? You know what I mean? They just totally ignored me. So that made me feel like even if it was a brand new activist, even if it was an activist that was from Charlotte, that they wouldn't pay attention to them. And I was told that, by some fellow, not activists, but nonprofits. When I first got here, I latched onto a lot of the nonprofits because the nonprofit thing is new to me. And I started it in Maryland. So when I came to Charlotte, it was a whole different type of thing. So They don't do the things that Maryland does. And I was like, okay, this is different. You know what I mean? So I had to learn the way of Charlotte, and it was okay because I like challenges and I like learning. So I hung out with a lot of the nonprofits when I first got here, seeing how they do things. And they was talking to me and telling me how the nonprofits work. They can't tell me about activism because I've been in that for 30 years, but they can tell me about the nonprofit. So I was, listening and learning, because that's what you do when you get into something new, especially in a new state, because like I said, everything is different down here, the way they do things. So with that being said, then, I had to figure out a way how to connect the two, and I did, but they didn't listen. And see, it's sad when a city doesn't listen. You know what I mean? It's real sad, there was a Times guy on the radio that was trying to bring out community activists, and this is why I don't deal with them here in Charlotte. I was trying to bring out community activists and talk about raising the boys and different things like that. And of course, I'm a woman and all my team is women. It's hard for us to raise boys, and we can't. This is why we need men. However, but we took on a job to try to make sure that these boys do right, so they didn't even want to acknowledge us because we were women. So that's another thing that deterred me from working here in North Carolina. Okay, because it's three of us, that was hard body out there with these boys, you know what I mean? And we were putting, and not only boys, the girls too, we was putting our lives on the line. When you're an activist, you put your life on the line. And when a state doesn't acknowledge that, it's like, what? You know what I mean? I said, this is not the place for me. They just don't care about these children, and I can't do it by myself, and my girls can't do it by themselves either because we're not rich. We can't go break ground somewhere and say we're going to build this community center for these kids so they can have somewhere to go when they don't have no family or, I had even, let me tell you something. It's crazy. The kids knew in the community, either from other communities, how we would take care of them over here. I had this white boy, and this is a fairly black community that I'm in. And I had this white boy come over here. We ain't know this boy from Adam, and he found a way to fit in. He even had to fight, the other teenagers, And he wasn't a slouch, but his mom was in jail. He had no food. He had nothing. You know what I mean? And what did he do? He slept on my steps. You know what I mean? And stuff like that hurts me, people. It hurts. I had a young lady, sleeping on my steps. Because I can't bring all these people into my home. That puts my people into danger. I have a daughter, And my grandson would go out there and try to help them as much as he can, even though he was a menace. But, he does have a heart. So he would go out there and help them as much as he can, take food out my house and feed them, Sometimes it was okay. Sometimes it wasn't because food was short. We had to eat. We have to eat, but we will always try to break bread with the streets because we want the streets to be okay. You know what I mean? So these are the things that I had to experience here in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is why it was a very, very rough experience, especially when the people are ignoring you and these things is documented. You know what I'm saying? This is the thing, people. When big organizations ignore you instead of checking out the documentation about a community, that means the city is no good. Okay? And that's the way I took it. Okay? Because no matter where you go, okay, and I'm going to use Baltimore, for instance. Okay, I brought some things to the table via Facebook. Okay? And some things went down. A little girl had got killed in Baltimore. And I got an invitation to not the funeral, but the community talk. Okay? There in Baltimore. And the reason why I got the invitation is because they knew that I voiced for the children. You know what I mean? And I was all over Facebook. They knew I used to be in Baltimore every single day of my life. And I had some things to say. And even though I didn't speak at the meeting, I listened, did a lot of listening. The mayor was there. I got to meet her. So she knew who I was when I get on Facebook acting a fool, about what's going on in the communities. This is when you know a city loves their community. You know what I mean? The mayor comes out, and deal with all the activists. You know what I mean? Even if she has to come to the hood, she does whatever she or he does whatever they have to do. Charlotte did not do that. Okay, when these kids was piling in my community because they were going through things and they knew that they can come here to get help. You know what I mean? Every day we was getting new kids every single day in the streets. Okay? Who does that? And I had no place to put these kids. Okay? This is real life. This stuff can be documented. Was documented. Okay? Real life. The cops will come, even try to tell them, like, y'all got to break it up. It's too many of y'all. Where you want them to go? They don't have nowhere to go. So, I'm, like I said, I was very disappointed with the city, Yeah, I had a thing about the medical as well, and Jordan took care of that, but that's not taking care of the city of the children of the community. Okay. Now they took the same building that I wanted to help these children. Okay. And they built a school. Really? I'm like, y'all sick, and this is just how I feel about the city of Charlotte. Y'all are sick. Y'all a sick community. Okay. These people need help and y'all don't even care, So I already knew from that point I wasn't staying here because I wasn't going to continue to be tortured for the rest of my life trying to take care of a bunch of kids that I cannot take care of. The most I could do is feed them. You know what I mean? And every time I feed them, that's food coming out of my mouth. And I was fine with that because I was willing to sacrifice for them. But if I don't get no help, I can't do it. So I had fall back, and some of my ones that's been with me for the last 4 years since I've been here, I'm going to always help them and be there for them no matter what. But like I told them, yeah, if y'all seen, I wrote on Facebook, y'all, it's time for y'all to get a job. Let's go to work, Let's go to work. Because now, even though y'all suffered for the last 4 years as youth, and I've seen that, and some of you survived it and some of you didn't. But now it's time to let's go to work. But now you got some other kids that's also 4 years older. And they're going through the same thing those other kids went through. Okay? When does the cycle stop? So this is what I was trying to do when I first got here. So, Charlotte didn't take to me very well. Their theory is, they heard bad things, I guess, about me, or whatever the case may be, and they ran with it instead of sitting down with me, seeing who I am. You know what I mean? And it was dead wrong for them for judging me, not knowing who I am, until they found out how the rest of the states respect me. Then now here they come along and they want to give me that respect. Well, guess what? You let too many kids die for me to respect you now. You understand what I'm saying? You let too many kids go homeless for me to respect you now. You understand what I'm saying? You got too many kids walking around Charlotte with anklets on. You lost my respect, So, I still feel some kind of way. It's not going to come up off my back for a long time. They got a lot of making up to do in order for me to respect Charlotte the way, I'm going to say Mecklenburg County, the way they want to be respected from me. Okay? Because I'm not new to this game, So, It just pisses me off. But, this is what we do. We fight. We talk about the things that we feel is right. We try to involve the big dogs because they're the ones with the money. When you go like to Hendrick, you buying cars from him. You running around with cars all over the place. But yet and still, if you put your child out, he ain't going to help your child. Okay? Or if your child decide to run away, he ain't going to help your child. And these are the things that we get it. Y'all don't know what's going on in the communities because y'all don't live in the communities. Y'all live in the rich areas, and we get it. This is why we write the letters and voice our opinions about what the hell is going on. So y'all can come out, and listen to what's going on. Invite us to a meeting place. This is the way it goes. So y'all so behind on, I sit back and I laugh about these other states. They dealing with children dying. They dealing with people getting killed every day. But y'all don't know what's going on in these other states because then it's not being broadcast. Okay, so y'all think by y'all broadcasting over here, this is what's going on every day, or you have your activists out there that's just crazy with it and want the world to know that, hey, this is our numbers, and shit, our numbers ain't no better. Y'all going through the same thing we going through. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit more of our youth are surviving because they're pulling themselves off the street. Y'all see me in a picture with a lot of my boys. About 20 of them there. These are boys out here that was out here every single day struggling. Youth. They were all under the age of 18 except for one that was in the picture. Okay? And, I say to myself, like, Charlotte, why are you doing this to these kids? I don't give a damn. And I've been all through Philly. Philly have places for the kids to go. So their problem is not their shooting issues has nothing to do with the youth being mistreated. They care about their youth. Baltimore care about their youth. When is Charlotte gonna care about their youth? Okay? They have, and this is no lie, from the community I'm in, is a 7-mile radius before you even get to a parks department. Okay? 7 miles. The average kid don't have a car, not even a bicycle, nor a skateboard. How is it a child cannot get to a place for recreation? How is it? In a 7-mile radius. And the closest, we have 2, okay? But they both about 7-mile radius. What city does that? Even Baltimore. They call Baltimore the poor city with the drugs and all this other stuff. But they can get to community things. Same with Philly. So why is it these kids got to struggle because they might have one basketball court and then at 5 a.m. the parks close at sunset. So now they got to get out the park and they have no place else to go. Now, what they say, the idle mind, what is it? An idle mind is a reckless mind. And they notice this is why they throw on an ankle bracelet and say, well, get out of here. We gotta recommend you for what you've done. But we really don't care because we know you ain't got nothing to do and you out here just, your mind is idle and you just thinking about things. Is that a way to teach children? No. You keep their mind going. Whether it's activities, reading, computers, you keep their minds going. You telling the kids it's okay for you to go out there and do what you're doing because I know you ain't got nothing to do. So I'm going to just throw this little anklet on you and now you can't leave the community. But they wouldn't even have to do that if these kids had something to do. Now, you go to the west side of Charlotte, they got a few community things going on over there, and the kids are still, going through what they go through. But they do have some community things over there. Here on the east side of Charlotte, these kids have nothing. And, people, like when the court system come around and say, well, this used to be the good side of Charlotte. I don't know why you feel like it's so bad. anytime the kids of my neighborhood got to sleep in the street, or they come to get food, or like with the boy, his mama went to jail and he was home alone. And he was a teenager, but he was, he's laying in his bed. He don't have any food, don't have any money coming in. And he's like, my mom is in jail. What do I do? Somebody told him about our community. He came over here. He said, even if I got to fight, I'm going to be with these people because I don't want to be alone. And he did. Step in my hallway. So, yeah, I feel some kind of way about Charlotte. Especially being in this game for 30 years. I feel like the work that I've put in didn't matter. Then I don't give a lot of these athletes and stuff the respect. I wrote Cam Newton. I told him, hey, and I know, the times are different, in Baltimore, the Ravens come out on a regular basis, okay? You could be walking down the street and see a Raven, okay? And I tell y'all no lie, Ray Lewis can tell you, they out at the schools, in the communities, Same with Buffalo. Buffalo Bills, shout out to them. Love you guys. Even though I don't know too many of y'all on the team, and I'm learning each day, but I still support y'all because y'all supported me back in the day, Buffalo Bills used to come out in the communities, see what's going on in the communities. Sponsored, So, yeah, I felt some kind of way, that Cam ignored me. I felt real. I felt some kind of way, y'all. I don't even want to tell y'all because y'all know I can get crazy with it. So I'm trying to keep my composure here with some of the things that I really want to say. But, yeah, these are the people that I contacted, to come and help me with these children. And they all ignored me, Football team never ignores a city. Never. Okay? The football teams work more close with the community than the mayor. Okay? So, yeah, I felt some kind of way. These men wouldn't come out, and, Cam didn't have to come by himself. I know he had teammates that he could have, like, listen, y'all, I need to go out to this community. I got this woman writing me about the kids of the community, and it seems like she needs help. A few of y'all, roll up with me, That's all it would have took. But they ignored that too. So, I'm telling y'all about this because I need some of the other states to see what the hell is going on here in Charlotte. Okay? And I need Charlotte to understand what goes on in these other states. Okay? They take care of their own. Okay? And this is what we do. We connect with the athletes. We connect with the mayors. Like I told y'all, we very rarely deal with the police. The police come into our communities because they're supposed to serve and protect. But we try to keep our children, and even some of the adults, try to keep them under wraps so they won't be going to jail. We want to make sure that they don't get have brutality. These are the things that we do, so we can live in peace. Because even though we niggas, as they call us, we want to be in peace too, And, y'all can hear my song. I think I told y'all about it in the first podcast with Me in the Game. Niggas want peace too. We ain't the worst of the worst. Some of us like to live nice and in peace and not have to worry about what's going on in the community. So it's one of the reasons why I wrote that song. Actually, the song was actually written for my son um, on a song called Conscience, and he didn't like it, so he didn't publish it. However, I did publish the one with Me in the Game because people needed to know what it was really about. You know what I'm saying? What I'm really about, what Obama was trying to do, to help us. For him, the whole country was his community. For us activists, the whole country is our community too, and we can still voice our opinions. However, we try to stick to where we're at so we can work with the people there. So when we all do need to voice our opinions, we can go stand strong together, And I had to put it all into play in that song. So y'all make sure y'all listen to that song, because it tells you what I was going through here in Charlotte, and what I experienced, in an intelligent format. Okay. I don't know. I came from work one day and I just sat down, and it was crazy because I didn't have no food, right, in my house. And I had wrote my son, and I told him, I said, son, I'm sorry it took so long, but I ain't had no food. So I was hungry trying to write this song, you know what I mean? And it was kind of hard, when your belly growling and you're writing a song. So I was like, well, let me get it together. And God put it in me, and I wrote it and got it together and recorded it and, sent it on. But it was pretty hard for me, because I'm working and then I'm trying to deal with the mental stress of what's going on in the community, and it still hasn't stopped, only a little bit. You know what I mean? These kids are always going to go where they can find love, A lot of them is locked up right now. Some of them, like I told y'all, they turned 18 and they made it, thank God, so now they can try to help themselves a little bit. But it's not an easy road when you see a bunch of kids under so much stress. You know what I mean? Kids are not supposed to stress. Not at all, And I had to learn that because I came up in a stressful life as well, And when I moved to the Bronx, my people showed me where children are not supposed to stress. You're going to do what I asked you to do, and we good. And that's how I lived my life. All they wanted me to do is go to school, do my chores, and I was good. I didn't have to worry about nothing. And that's how kids are supposed to be. Yeah, granted, they probably had family problems, maybe even financial problems, but I never knew about it. So that's the way life is supposed to be, just like my kids. They didn't know I had financial problems until 2 days before we lost our house. Because I said I could try to fix this, but it just wasn't happening. So, they had to, of course, be a part of it, but they didn't know anything. They didn't know the struggle. They didn't know the stress. And that's the way it's supposed to be, But these kids, they just go through so much. And I've never seen nothing like it, especially teenagers, Now, they got a school here called Commonwealth to help you get your GED. No, actually get a high school diploma, but you're not in a school setting, And I think it's a very good organization. Some of the kids utilize it, some of the kids don't, because they're not used to sitting down at a computer every day, all day, trying to get their work done. So some can utilize it and some don't, but they don't have no activities. They don't have nothing there for the children. Just classrooms. Sometimes a child's home is their worst nightmare. Y'all heard my story. My home was my worst nightmare. I'd rather be someplace else than be home. So with that being said, I know I'm not the only child that went through that. I don't single myself out because of what happened to me, because I know other children go through it. That's why God has directed me into this life to help those that's like me. You know, I'm not better than anybody because we all going through the same things. So I don't judge them, no matter what they've been through. I try to help them. So, you know, with that being said, I just wanted to give y'all some insight on the work that activists do. You know, and I still haven't met the mayor of Charlotte. I seen a picture of him one time. Whether she knows it or not, the activists don't come to you, you come to them. Or you send an invite to meet. That's the way it works in the community. If you want to help the community, if your job is really to help the community. Okay? That's the way it works. I've had 2 mayors come out into the city when they really didn't have to, but they did because they wanted to know what was going on with their people. Okay? Even if they had to step foot in the ghetto, they did it. No fear. So, you know, this disappoints me. You know what I mean? The whole city overall disappoints me because nobody knows what they're doing. Yeah, they into second chances for the kids. I get it. You know, and I do feel that, you know, kids should have second chances because they're children. But sometimes you need to get to the bottom of why these kids are doing what they're doing. You know, so this is what being an activist is about. You know, fighting for what's right in communities. You know, what's going on in your country. You know, and I say it again, you don't wake up every day, wake up and walk outside and say, I'm going to be an activist today. You have to learn. You have to learn to listen. You have to learn to pay attention. You can't dictate. You understand. You do more listening than talking. The ones that you talk to is the people that can help us. Okay, and everybody want to be a part of this police organization thing. The activists ain't never been a part of the police organization thing. Stop making us look bad. Okay, we don't do police. We do politicians. Okay, and that's one of the reasons they didn't want me dealing with politicians here in North Carolina because they know I would get stuff done. So I felt like I was targeted, you know, when they told me that, because you have a nonprofit, you cannot deal with the politicians. Because that's how you get things done in the city. Dealing with the politicians, dealing with the mayors, dealing with the governors. Okay? Not the police department. That's a whole different organization. They can't make nothing move. Okay? Know what organizations you're dealing with. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Deja, Jackie, whatever y'all call me. I love y'all all. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.